Hi Aries, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel and a happy early birthday to those of you celebrating March. This is your March 2021 love reading. Thanks to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description video for more details there. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, this is what I call the Bridging the Gap spread, and the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest, cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection, and we'll look at the past energies, present energies, future energies, and once we get through all that, we'll actually pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the Bridging the Gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. Also, keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so we'll fold that out of the way. Past energy on your side, we have Princess of Staves. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Wands. And in this deck in particular, it always stands out to me, for one, that we actually see her on the horse, so that makes me think of more of like a Knight of Wands energy. But also, if we just look at their body language, they're pointed away from the cards on the other person's side. And obviously, it looks like the horse is running off, and then she's kind of looking back a little bit, So, I feel like for some of you, this is saying that, you might have felt like a really strong pull toward this person, and you might have even flirted with the idea of actually approaching them, but I feel like you might have actually moved away from the connection. So there could have been some interaction between the two of you, and for whatever reason you might have just decided to run off. You might have been scared off. I think I could see why that could be the case when we get a little bit later in the spread, but that's what I see there. Past energy on their side, we have the Seven of Swords, which is Aquarius energy, and the Queen of Wands, which is Aries energy. So this is actually a perfect example of what I mean, as far as maybe this is going to represent your energy on the right for some of you, and this would be the other person's. But with these two cards here, Seven of Swords in this deck in particular points more to, as opposed to like deception that we're used to with the traditional tarot, this is more of just a disconnect between two people, and having to actually feel each other out a little bit to get on the same page. And then with the Queen of Wands there, this obviously representing your sign, looks like it's saying that this person might have felt like they were having difficulty getting on the same page as you. Maybe they felt that you moved a bit too quickly for them. If we just look at that in a literal sense, with the horse moving away, right? So could just be one of those things, or maybe you guys had a conflict and they might have wanted to work it out, but you didn't. That's another way it could be working out there too. All right, in the present position on your side, excuse me, we have the Three of Swords, or Three of Arrows in this deck, and the Ace of Staves. So pretty big contrast in the energy here, but this Three of Arrows always stands out to me, where it looks like she's, well, let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. If we look at that look on her face, she's like kind of looking over her shoulder at the heart with the 3 arrows in it, but reluctantly so at the very least. So it could just be saying that, I could see this playing out a couple different ways too. For some of you, it could just be saying that you might have ran away from the connection in the past because there was still some heartbreak that you hadn't actually really processed completely. So, you weren't necessarily ready for that new start. And if that's the case, this could just be saying that the energies at play now are actually kind of, forcing you to look at that a little bit and actually be able to put it behind you before you could have that start with this person. That's one way I could see it playing out. For others of you, if there was an actual disconnect and some kind of a quarrel between the two of you, it looks like it could just be saying that you're, still going to be in the process of healing from that now, but there is definitely still that potential for a fresh start with this person. Let's see if anything else comes to mind with this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I mean, I will say, as far as looking at old heartbreak and things along those lines, this could be due to the fact that, of course, we have the sun in Pisces now, and Venus is about to move there as well. So, it could just be one of those things where you're looking back on past situations. And present position on their side, we have the Four of Wands, so more Aries energy here. Ace of Chalices, which is the equivalent to the Ace of Cups. The Stars, which is more Aquarius energy. So for some of you, maybe it's an Aquarius you're dealing with. And Five of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. So with the Four of Wands energy here, we definitely see a more of a light and playful approach from this person, but also with the Four of Wands, we think of it in the traditional sense too. Definitely looks like that celebratory atmosphere. Looks like there's some kind of stability at play. So for some of you, this could just be saying that now they're actually, their perspective is shifting on the connection to where they really do see the potential to go long term. With the Ace of Chalices, usually I say that's more of an idea with the aces as opposed to actually taking action like we see with the page energies, like that, for example. But in this deck in particular, it does look like there's actual action being taken. With the Stars, again, this is Aquarius energy, like I said, and there's tons of energy still in Aquarius, even with some of the stuff moving on into Pisces now. But really, this could just be pointing to, especially if there was some kind of a quarrel between the two of you or some kind of separation. The Stars is the card that comes after the Tower, so this could just be saying that they're actually a little bit further ahead in their healing than you are, and that could be part of what this is pointing to. And with the Five of Pentacles, they could feel rejected. So yeah, for a lot of you, I feel like that's what it is, that whatever the situation was, whether it was actually the two of you directly had some kind of conflict in some way, or they just, when you guys came together in the past, it's just that you weren't healed from something. It looks like this person's definitely a little bit more ready currently. And then they might just be feeling rejected from you because it looks like you're still taking a little time to process the situation. And interestingly enough, if I remember right, it was last month you guys had a reading where the person on the right was definitely the one who was really taking her time and moving slowly. So for some of you, like I said, this could definitely be your energy here, and this is the other person's if it's a continuation of that. But that's what I see there. All right, and in the future position on your side, we have Contemplation. So this is actually the equivalent of the Hermit in traditional tarot, which is Virgo energy. So for some of you, this could just be saying that, you might decide to shift your focus to work for a while, and, but at the same time, it definitely looks like you have this person on your mind quite a bit. So it could just be one of those things where, like I said, you might still be processing whatever this disappointment or heartbreak is that you had from the past. Like I said, whether it's with this person or just something from the distant past, but that's what I'm seeing there. And future position on their side, we have the High Priestess. So this is actually Pisces energy for me, usually. And, this represents definitely tapping into your intuition, having a firm control over your emotions. And it's interesting to see that, with that card back in the spread, their backs are turned to each other, right? But interestingly, too, Virgo energy and Pisces energy, they're opposites. So to me, this says that the two of you probably are actually a pretty good match, but, it looks like there's just a little more time needed for some healing. It looks like primarily on your side. And maybe this person's picking up on that too, because they could be quite intuitive themselves. So they're like, all right, they're still, I feel like this is saying that they might actually give you that space if you need it, but they're still open to the connection, if we look at those two keys in her hand there. But, she could just be like, all right, I'll just give them their time. So that's what I'm primarily seeing there. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have Temptation. So this is actually the equivalent of the Devil card in traditional tarot, which is Capricorn energy. So for some of you, this really can be, like I said, another sign that you could just be really focusing on your work in the meantime until you're over whatever the situation is. But for others of you, this could just be saying that this is whatever that disappointment and heartbreak was from the past coming back up for your review. I don't really think it's going to be the person physically coming back, but I feel like it's more of something that you're processing. And this could just even be saying that this person might actually bring that out of you where you do want to get closer to them, but you just kind of feel a bit torn because you're not necessarily healed yet. And Interestingly enough, beneath that we have the Princess of Staves. So it looks like you guys will be coming out of it pretty soon. Could even be a bit nervous around them because we see the butterflies in the artwork there, and we think about that term, like butterflies in your stomach. So could just be saying that, you might just feel a bit nervous around this person. But beneath that, we actually have the Eight of Staves. So another indicator that you are going to come out of this probably closer to your season. That will make sense, when you get the sun in your sign and Venus in your sign, and the Eight of Staves represents that communication for sure, and a lot more confidence around that communication. So, and we have the Two of Cups there too. So yeah, so it looks like one of those things. 12th house transits. You probably just need to lay low for a bit. Bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Three of Pentacles. So yeah, to me, this is another indicator that this person does want to build. They do see the potential for long-term stability with the two of you. But again, like I said, the good thing is it looks like they will be patient. So yeah, this is what's so interesting to me. Like I said, it feels like similar energies, a continuation, but this time the person who's, not ready yet is on the left, whereas last month it was the person on the right. So, like I said, could be a continuation for some of you. Some of you could be a totally different story, but it is interesting to see. Moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we'll see if we get anything for Nautical Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck before we started recording, but here I'm just looking for some jumpers. First, I'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while without anything coming up, I'll just move on to the next Oracle deck, but sometimes we get additional messages here. All right, nothing coming up there, so we'll see if we get any from them to you now. Nope, almost had one there. All right, nothing there, so we'll just move on to the next Oracle deck, which is the Wisdom of the Oracle, and I did pre-shuffle this deck as well. Here, though, we're just looking for one card with general advice to wrap up with. All right, so I'll just put the deck down and we'll pull a card. So give me a few seconds to tune in. Okay. We have Observer. Interesting. It looks like both the cards in the future on your side and their side, but there's the artwork and the number is 49. All right, and if we look, they're looking at the moon too, so pay attention to the lunar cycles this month. There's going to be, well, we haven't had that full moon in Virgo yet. That's coming up in a couple days, but in March, you're going to have the new moon in your 12th house, so that could be actually when you're looking at that healing situation, and then toward the end of the month, there's going to be the full moon in your opposite sign too. So let's see what we got. Okay, it says perspective, objectivity, neutral observation from a distance. The Oracle's message. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences, so much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environments you're engaged with now. You'll be so happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. So definitely a pretty positive message there, and I could definitely see where that could relate. Where, like I said, for those of you where maybe you might have moved away from the connection, like I said, maybe there for some of you there was an actual conflict of some kind. You might have just left the scene altogether. But for others of you, this might have been where, like I said, you might have had another situation that you still hadn't healed from that could have been causing a blockage in this connection too. The relationship message says sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take the higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. So definitely a pretty positive message there too. And again, it does seem to be pointing to the fact that this is just a bit of a passing phase. And like I said, for those of you, if this is a continuation of last month, then you probably feel like it's been going on forever. But for those of you, if this is a new story, it doesn't seem that way, I'm sure. But hope it resonated with you guys. Once again, happy early birthday to those of you celebrating March, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.